Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and I'm recording this video live from the Sports Radio 810 WHB studios, and I'm going to weigh in on the whole DeAndre Hopkins saga and give my thoughts as to where he's going to end up, and just give my thoughts on the entire DeAndre Hopkins situation in general, because this has been a crazy last month and a half where, quite frankly, I have absolutely no clue what is going on with the whole DeAndre Hopkins thing. There was rumors that he was going to the Patriots, which, quite frankly, I was never really that big on, because why would he go to a place that, doesn't really have an established quarterback? And outside of them signing former Chiefs wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, they don't really have a very established wide receiver core, and that team is really not in a win-now mode. And the one thing that I do kind of think DeAndre Hopkins is all about, he's all about winning. He wants to win. And I think that was his big problem in Arizona, because he was set to make $19 million in Arizona this year if he was to play on that contract. But I think that, it's not just about the money. It's about the money, respect, and winning. And you can't really have the money and winning and respect all at the same time if you're getting paid that much. So while I don't think money is the biggest thing that is stopping him from, signing with a true contender, I do think he wants enough money to the point where he feels respected. I don't know what the Chiefs have offered him or if they've offered him anything, but I would assume that based on what they offered, or reportedly possibly offered guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, it probably wasn't very much. And I'm okay with that, because right now the Chiefs wide receiver core might not have that number one wide receiver, but let's face it, they have enough in terms of, getting the job done. They drafted the guy in the second round in Rashee Rice. They got Sky Moore. They got Kadarius Toney, a guy that they traded for last year. They've got some good pieces, and you still have the best tight end on the planet in Travis Kelce. So I'm not really worried about this wide receiver core, but there's no doubt that DeAndre Hopkins would make it infinitely better. But the thing that, made me want to make this video is, according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, the Chiefs have been keeping in contact with free agent wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, and they're showing interest, but it seems like right now they don't have the cap space, and so they'd have to extend and re-sign Chris Jones in order to free up some more cap space to get Hopkins on the team. I think that would be a wise move in general, because I really don't want Chris Jones to, walk in free agency next year. So I think extending Chris Jones, giving him a contract that he's happy to play under, is really important, not just for, signing DeAndre Hopkins, but just for Chris Jones' happiness in Kansas City. So I think there's beneficial, aspects on that side, but I do kind of wonder, what does he want? Because, teams like the Titans, who he's visited with, and the Patriots have definitely thrown out more money, but they just must be in a disagreement, as to maybe a role, or potentially just those teams aren't, possible contenders. And I think that he does want to play for a contender, but teams like the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs and even the Cincinnati Bengals, they don't have the cap space to just throw around, $15 million at a wide receiver that, is coming off of some of his better years, and we don't really know what to expect. He got busted for PED use in the past, and while I still think he is a very good wide receiver, I think the days of him being the, best wide receiver in the NFL or a top 3 wide receiver when he's healthy, those days are probably gone. I don't think he's that guy anymore, but that's not to say that he couldn't come on this Chiefs team right now and be their number one option from a wide receiver perspective. He definitely has the talent, and he definitely has that, veteran leadership and presence that, this Chiefs wide receiver core could use, but the difference is I don't think the Chiefs need that presence. DeAndre Hopkins is a guy that could probably come in right away and give you 1,000 yards. I don't think that's out of the question. But again, the question is going to be, will he settle for a contract that is less? When OBJ signed with the Baltimore Ravens for like $15 million, it kind of screwed, maybe it was more than that, it kind of screwed up the entire wide receiver market, and it really hurt DeAndre Hopkins because, OBJ was coming off of an ACL tear, and we were still kind of like, okay, what is he worth? And the Ravens went out there and they paid for OBJ. And I think that, kind of made other teams that were interested in DeAndre Hopkins a little bit disappointed, because now DeAndre Hopkins is thinking that he's worth OBJ type money. And, you could argue that, but I think that if he wants to play on a contender, a team like the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills are not going to give him what he's worth on the market. That's just not how it works. When you're a contender and you've got all these other guys under contract, teams don't have that money to give out to a free agent wide receiver the caliber of DeAndre Hopkins. But I think the Chiefs are kind of banking on the fact that, hey, we've won 2 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. Come play with us, come get a ring. And if you're Buffalo, you're like, hey, come play with Josh Allen. Come play for a bona fide contender that is all in on winning a championship. So I do think that, both teams have a angle to this. But in my opinion, the reason that we haven't seen DeAndre Hopkins on a team yet is because he wants to get paid at least something close to his value, and he wants to play for a contender. The only 2 teams, I guess 3 teams, but I haven't really heard Cincinnati in the mix at all. The 2 teams that are really in the mix to get DeAndre Hopkins are the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Outside of those 2, I can't see him going to the Tennessee Titans. I mean, they don't have a quarterback. I mean, they just drafted one, but they don't have a established quarterback, and the Patriots don't have one either. And those have been the 2 teams that, have been really interested in him, so to speak. But I don't think that he's just going to go to a team that pays him the most money, because he does want to win. And DeAndre Hopkins, if you want to win, come to the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Like, obviously, the Chiefs are doing something right, and they're in the AFC Championship game seemingly every year, and they're going to Super Bowls 3 out of the last 5 seasons. So I do think that it's going to be very interesting to see how this situation develops and progresses, because if you would have told me that DeAndre Hopkins was not on a team on June 9th, or July 9th, rather, I kind of would have thought that you were lying. I would not have believed you, but I think that just kind of shows you that right now the free agent market is dead. And I wonder if DeAndre Hopkins is going to sign with somebody mid-training camp, which I don't think is very beneficial, but I think that we're probably going to see DeAndre Hopkins go in the next 4 to 6 weeks, kind of mid-training camp, or, once training camp starts, we'll start to hear more rumors picking up. But I would be very surprised if come training camp, or at least mid-training camp, he's not on either the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs. But I do think that this update was worth mentioning, because the Chiefs have never not contacted him. They've been in constant communication with DeAndre Hopkins the entire time, and I do think that is a beneficial sign. Whether or not he's going to end up in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform, I couldn't tell you. Quite frankly, I'm kind of getting sick of the whole DeAndre Hopkins situation, because for the last month and a half, it's been, oh, the Chiefs are interested, oh, the Titans are interested, oh, he's going to the Patriots. I'm done. I'm just ready to hear his decision and ready to see if the Chiefs were able to get him in this sweepstakes. So, Chiefs Kingdom, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Do you think DeAndre Hopkins would be a member of the Kansas City Chiefs come training camp, or do you think he's going to sign somewhere else? In my opinion, there's a good chance, but at the end of the day, I think that the Chiefs need to make sure that whatever they do, they don't break the bank, and they just stick with their guns. And with that being said, guys, that's all I have for this video. If you like it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for future Chiefs content. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video, and go Chiefs!